Welcome back, Tribe. Have one here saying women secretly hate each other. I haven't watched it, but sounds interesting.
Hi, guys. I think there's something we all notice but are not allowed to say. So let me go ahead and say it. Most women harbor a thinly veiled hatred for one another. Behind their all
Uh-huh.
smiles persona, you'll often find a cold war and a silent rivalry among women in everything from the clothes they wear to the guy that they're able to snatch. I think this is why movies like Mean Girls is so enduringly popular because in both its name and its plot line, it says out loud this politically incorrect truth about female nature with a spin of comedy. So like I often do, I'm taking a dive into the psychological and evolutionary biology to explain why this is.
Here we
There's
go.
one fact from history that still presses on us today. Women are a lot less hierarchical than men are, meaning women tend to see their group dynamics on a more equal level in both status and authority. Men, however, have always been defined by their hierarchies. From hunting thousands of years ago to running modern day corporations, the need for survival demands that men arrange themselves into a chain of command to get the job done. But where it gets interesting is that even women are more willing to accept the authority of a man over another woman. This is perfectly reflected in a Gallup survey back in 2014, which revealed that more than 39% of women outright say they prefer a male boss at work rather than a female one. And just speaking from a personal perspective, when I was working a job like a 9 to 5, I always preferred a male boss. These numbers.
And I've heard the same anecdotes from all the women I've dated, talked to, whatever. They much prefer a man compared to a woman. They have better leadership qualities. They make decisions more. They're more impartial. They're more objective. They're not catty. They don't have ulterior motives with you. They're all about the results. Dude, you should hear all this. Like women bosses with women underling employees. If you've ever been with a woman that, has a woman boss, supervisor, manager, or whatever, they'll tell you all these things like that they're incompetent, that they're too emotional at their job, and that they're catty. You have to play this social game with them along with all the other women and gas them up. And oh my God, dude, it's a nightmare. And they say, I just like working. I have a male boss. It's very simple. Do your job at this time, this deadline, this date, this client. Do you have the results? Here's what you can do better. All their critiques and performance reviews of you are completely impartial. It's all by the numbers. It's very logical. Not about how I felt in the office and like your energy in the group and like how it's feels as a together with a family and like none of that shit.
Have only recently started to shift due to a lot of societal pressures in the Western world, but they still remain a reality in most other societies. Do you see how this creates two forms of competition? Women, with this more egalitarian view of themselves, makes them less likely to accept the leadership from another woman. This is also why small attempts to one-up each other creates a friction that simmers into hidden jealousy and hatred inside. Have you ever heard of what's sometimes called the queen bee syndrome? Any woman who's worked in a female-led environment can attest to this. The girl boss is often ironically the one belittling and excluding other women in the workplace, almost trying to guard her leadership position like a queen bee. A woman that finds herself in a position of authority over other women isn't so eager to let those other women climb that same ladder and challenge her.
Oh, wow,
and
look at
as the
that.
gap between their status widens, the mask of empowered feminism drops and the hidden bitchy behavior starts to strongly manifest in an effort to bring other women down. And how does this pan out? I remember Jordan Peterson once made a really, really great point about female antisocial behavior. Women take the route of innuendos, gossip, and reputation destruction as a primary channel for their anger and despise. Now, what's unique about this is it's often hidden in plain sight. Unlike men who have the threat of physical violence behind every level of conflict, women that hate each other take the covert route, spreading rumors, sending up a bad report, subtle insults, and social isolation. It's this brewing toxic pot that keeps simmering, sometimes ending in a rare but all-out catfight. Men, on the other hand, can hardly afford to be their own enemies. Men, whether it be on the front lines of war or the boardroom of a dying company, they would rather defer their authority and follow the lead of a more competent man if it's for the greater good. And in the event a disagreement does happen between them, due to the very real threat of each side having the ability to completely destroy each other because both sets of men have innate physical strength, issues usually maintain a certain level of decency until their final moment. This hard line doesn't exist to the same degree among women. So when I say that women hate each other, that's what I mean. Unlike men who can throw punches at each other but then laugh it out later, female antisocial behavior spills over in the atmosphere and seeps into every single fabric. From tones to gestures to choice of words, it goes unnoticed but yet infects their behavior and interaction very discreetly. And most often it stays in that state because this festering anger, jealousy, and bitter competitiveness never gets an opportunity to release its pressure. So with that being said, until the next video.
Very well put. Curious on what the comments say. My wife worked for women and had women work under her. She has no problem saying that she much prefers working for men or have men work under her. You know, and it's that famous saying that we all know by now. Someone said most men insult each other and don't mean it. Most women compliment each other and don't mean it. When I was in a relationship, my ex would tell me how her friends hated her. Then once I got to know her personality, I could see why. One girlfriend told me about how women gossip about each other behind their backs. I thought that she herself was critical of this. One day I found out she was complaining about me behind my back. I was very generous to her. That was enough, so I kicked her out of my life. She wanted to come back, but I refused. It says it ain't no secret. And this one says this, I'm a girl's girl, but I've gotten to the point where I'm over having female friends. I'm over the jealousy, betrayal, slander, all of it. If you've been in a relationship, you know it's kind of a weird, touchy moment when you're meeting your girlfriend's friends. She's already on high alert and on like mate guarding behavior. She probably preps you for a couple of the friends already, like watch out for her, or this one I don't really trust. You know, you start to see the looseness of the friendships in this entire friend group and how the other women are looking at you when you're interacting with them over a coffee or a dinner date or together at a little kickback, a party in a little, you know, somebody's house, everybody's having a get together, and you're just seeing how fragile your woman's friend group is and how little they do trust each other and the way they compliment each other and the way they judge each other nonstop. And I've been with women that flat out say, I don't trust my girlfriends. I know they're always vying for. One girlfriend took another woman's man, and every woman is trying to take each other's man. And women do this thing where they naturally compete and compare one another directly, even when they call themselves best friends. She'll look at, imagine a scenario. You go out to a kickback at a friend's house. Your woman is there with her best friend or 3 of her good friends, and you're there with the guys, whatever, chilling in. Your woman's friend is looking at you, wondering how your woman got you. How is she so lucky? Does he have any brothers? You know, when you hear that shit, does he have any brothers? Does he have siblings? Where did you find him? Dude, that's the most subtle tell of like, why do you deserve him? I deserve him more than you. I'm better than you. Where did you find this guy? How did she find this guy? Is she better than me? They subconsciously do this. I've had my own girlfriend tell me this plenty of times. Girls that I've been casually on and off with all the time. That women will look at each other's significant others and go, I could take him. I could take him from her. I'm better than her. I could have him if I want. And if the guy is really good and seen as a catch, dude, the destruction begins. I'm going to take him. I deserve him. She doesn't. That's why when the girls get together and they're comparing their men and their status. Like who has the best man has the highest status in the group. Women place themselves in that loose hierarchy based on the status of their man. Whoever has the highest status man, whoever's got the guy everyone wants is usually the woman that everyone wants to be in that group. And all women are vying for her position. If you're the woman in the group with the lowest man, nobody's angling for your man. Everybody, you're safe within the group. Nobody wants what you have. You're looked down upon as like, oh, lonely little Sarah there with her beta blah boyfriend. They're so cute as a couple. But Stacy comes over with the Chad. It's all of a sudden, Chad's got all the attention from the girls. You ever notice that when you're in a relationship as a man and you're meeting the friends, they have so much sexual interest from you? All of a sudden, like, talks of threesomes, overt interest, going into the kitchen to grab something and the friend shows up and is like, hey, how can I help you with something, Chad? And like all getting extra touchy. Have a ring on your finger, going out in public. All of a sudden, women are just far more interested. It's weird how when you have a woman, all women seem to be far more interested in you. Isn't that crazy? But when you had no hoes, you had no woman, no wife, nothing, no one wanted to approach you the way they're approaching you now. All of a sudden, there's something to be gained, something to be taken. You have social proof. If a woman wants you, if you already have a woman with a ring on your finger or seen out with women, all of a sudden, women naturally look at you, look at your woman, and then look right back at you and go, do I want to take this one or not? She's not better than me. Women innately do this. Ask your girl to be brutally honest. When you hear the truth, your head would explode. Holy shit. I've had 2 women bosses who confessed to me they much prefer supervising men than women. Yeah, and this stuff it is taboo to talk about. We want to paint the picture that the sisterhood is this like unbreakable thing and the bond that they share is super deep, and it couldn't be anything but. It's gaslighting. It's the most brittle thing in the world, and it goes completely out the window when you introduce a man that everyone wants. And I had a last thought in my head. You remember that show like Survivor or whatever, the little show where people would get dropped off on islands? They once time did a gendered one too, where women were thrown on the island and then men were thrown on the island, and the men quickly organized themselves in a hierarchy, just like she said, and started divvying up tasks between one another. You go do this, you go gather wood, you go start this fire here, you go get fish, you build this shelter with me, go get the leaves. And we all started operating as men together in a group to get shit done. By the first night, within hours, men had already built the shelter, fire got started, and they were like chilling, eating berries and like whatever small critters they were catching. And the women were like complaining from the get-go in the boat to get on the beach. Like, I don't want to get our clothes wet. And it took them forever to get on the beach. And then they were all just wet. A storm had rolled through. No fire started. No food. Crying. Contestants dropping out left and right. And then in record time, some women were like, okay, F this. And went into the men's encampment. Just gave up and went over to the men. And the men are over there. It's like the funniest highlight reel. The men like laughing. They got the Indiana Jones like conquering nature thing going on an adventure. And the women are just like doom music, just absolutely losing their shit and failing at the most basic task of survival. What's a man good for? What do we need men for, ladies? Fish and bicycles. Remember that? Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you on the next one.